Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for another Flycast webinar. Today's webinar, we're going to be focusing on the Cherwell Service Management Toolset. Kelly Hunt is our guest speaker. Wanted to first tell you a little bit about Flycast partners. We are located in North America, have offices in Toronto, Canada, St. Petersburg, Florida, and Dallas, Texas. We have consultants and professionals throughout North America, everywhere from Phoenix to Canada, here to help you folks. Folks, if you take a look at the screen, if you take a look at our website, there's a lot of resources here. Our consultants are just a click away from helping you with your IT and IT asset management projects. We also have quite a bit of education, everything from ITIL training all the way down to ITIL MAUC, even expert, as well as the Apollo 13 ITIL mixed in with ITIL Foundation training. So folks, again, Flycast Partners is flycastpartnerswithan.com, always on the web to help you. In addition to that, our live webinars, usually held on Fridays. We have everything from our full series, Change Management, CMDB, and Problem Management, which will be highlighted this month and next, as well as our IT Service Management webinars, our Featured and Focus Application Toolset webinars, and of course our Thought Leadership webinars focused on the ITIL best practices. So folks, without further ado, I would like to tell you a little bit about our speaker. And if you'll bear with me, let me read this insert. Kelly Hunt is a senior solutions consultant now with Flycast Partners. Kelly joins the Flycast team with more than 15 years of IT experience and emphasis in database administration and ITSM. Kelly is also ITIL V3 certified, having worked with a variety of IT service management or service software publishers. Kelly delivers valuable insights to organizations transitioning legacy systems over to cutting-edge technologies like the Cherwell Service Desk application. So folks, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let Kelly present here and give her the controls. So we're going to be moving away from the Flycast website in the capable hands of Kelly Hunt. So ladies and gentlemen, Kelly, it's all yours.
Thanks, Bill. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll be switching controls here in just a second, and we'll dive into Cherwell Service Management.
And folks, while we're waiting for Kelly, next week and the week after, we do have some of our additional webinars that are scheduled, and then we'll be getting into the full series next month. Each and every Friday, right on our schedule, you can sign up, again, just a click away, and we'd be happy to help. Also, our ITSM specialists are always manning our website to answer all of your questions, everything from ITIL, IT Service Management, and of course, IT Asset Management.
All right, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us there while we just switch controls. Again, my name is Kelly Hunt, and I wanted to thank you for taking a little time with us today to go through Cherwell Service Management. What I'd like to talk to you about today is really the concept within Cherwell that is referred to oftentimes as CBAT. That's C-B-A-T. What that stands for is Codeless Business Application Technology. So when we talk about CBAT from a Cherwell perspective, really what we're saying there is that there is no coding, no scripting required to make this tool meet your specific needs. Everything is done through a drag and drop, a wizard-driven interface. You're never going to be writing lines of code to take what's out of the box and tailor it to your specific situation. Whether it's a dashboard, which is what you see here in the Cherwell client, or maybe you'd like to use a self-service portal, all very easy to create, change the content, and make it relevant to your specific needs. Just as an aside, as we get started, for those who have not had the opportunity to learn about Cherwell prior to today, welcome again. But Cherwell does offer you a number of different access points. For your technicians, you'll have a rich client, which is what we saw with our dashboard. There is a browser-based client as well that's available to you. It's browser agnostic, choose your favorite. As you can see here, I'm a Chrome person, so I tend to run my client in Chrome. There's mobile applications that are available to you. There's a native iOS as well as native Android application that you can download from iTunes and Google Play. And then last but not least, there's an Outlook plugin. So if you're the type of person like me who has your nose buried in your email all day, every day, and you don't wish to leave that email screen, you can actually interact with Cherwell directly from that tool. The other option you have is for your end users, there is a full self-service portal available to you. That's what we're looking at here. And I thought that might be where we would start today, just to talk about some key things that codeless business application technology extends to you. I've logged into the Cherwell self-service portal, and this is more just a IT portal to kind of give you those standard IT functions which your end users might want to see or interact with you. I'm logged in as my customer, Matt Brown, here at the top. And what you can see is right on this screen, we've got a lot of content that's being offered to our customer to make his interaction with the service desk quick and easy. As we go through today, along with that concept of codeless business application technology, ease of use is truly what we're after. Whether we're looking at Cherwell from the end user perspective or later on in our discussion today from a technician perspective, it has to be easy to use. I think tool adoption is really more about how easy it is, how intuitive it is, okay? So as we look at our self-service portal here, just a few things to take you through. Down at the bottom, you'll notice that there are community discussion boards that are offered as part of your Cherwell platform. Community discussion boards allow you to do things like forums, open collaboration. It offers an alternative to social media. I think these days we all communicate via social media. We've stopped even with email, but the discussion boards offer you an internal way to actually host those forums and use them to drive incident creation, problem creation, or whatever you might need to do within the tool. Over to the right-hand side, I'd like to introduce you to what's called a one-step in Cherwell. One-steps, think of them as micro workflows or automations. They are truly the workhorse in Cherwell, and we'll spend quite a bit of time today talking about them. But the nice thing that it offers, again, is that ease of use concept from the self-service perspective. Matt's logged in to the self-service portal, and there's an outages and problems section here. Pretty common use, I think, of self-service. Let's announce what we know is wrong and hopefully drive down the number of repetitive phone calls that come into the desk. The difference here is that one step to the right-hand side. Notice it says affects me too. If Matt's logged in and he sees that email is down, but he really wants to let somebody know that this is making his day difficult, he can go ahead and just click affects me too. That'll subscribe him to the problem, that is, email and calendaring is down. Now Matt feels engaged. Hopefully our customer satisfaction is going to go up a little bit by offering something like that. But on the other end of that conversation, reporting how far-reaching this outage was, all of that's very easy to get. We didn't make anybody come into the portal and fill out a long form. One click, Matt's now subscribed. And once this is over, we have full reporting available to us to see how many people actually use that link. Along the top, you'll notice we can embed knowledge right here within our Cherwell self-service portal. So maybe a keyword search like email, or publish out those frequently asked questions. Mine are done by usage, but you certainly can decide using that codeless platform what makes sense as far as your frequently used knowledge articles. One of the nice features that Cherwell does offer is the ability to publish reports and dashboards being your real-time metrics, out to the self-service portal without any need for a license. Your data is your data. You are welcome to use that wherever it makes sense. So if you want to publish reports, publish dashboards out to the self-service portal, also very easy to do. But if you've had a great month with SLAs, or your CSAT's improving, or you simply want to publish out a forward schedule of change just so, again, we stop that flood of phone calls into the service desk, is my server going to be rebooted this weekend type of phone calls, be as transparent as you wish to be by publishing those reports and those dashboards out to self-service, and again, make things easy to use. One of the other nice features that Cherwell offers is the ability to create service catalogs through drag and drop methods. I've gone ahead and created just a very simple service catalog. These are the services that Matt has subscribed to, so we can make that very intuitive for him to come in and use. I've gone ahead and included just a report a virus option here for Matt. Again, ease of use being the common thread throughout the platform. We don't want Matt to have to fill out a long form. He can simply come in and say, I think I have a virus. There's really one question that Matt can answer for us, and that is, why do you think you have a virus? Behind the scenes, Cherwell can manage the classification, prioritization, assignment. We don't have to trouble our customer with that type of information. The other nice thing that you can use your service catalog, and again, your one steps, those micro workflows in Cherwell, is to drive process. Onboarding of a new employee always tends to be a great example. It's something we all have to do, and it's a place I think that not all of us have reached full maturity with. It's sort of an ongoing process, if you will. But with our onboarding of a new employee, we can come in and we've got our new employee set up, and we can present a form that's going to ask those specific details about who's starting. If we've got Bill starting, maybe he's going to be one of our developers, autofill all of that information. Maybe we can replicate rights from Henry, our technician on the other side, step through that, and again, make that interface intuitive and easy to use. I'll go ahead and submit that, and you'll notice, of course, Matt's going to get that little pop-up that tells him that his service request has been submitted. Here's the number for reference. And behind the scenes, there will be workflow that will send him an email and let him know, again, the details of that request that he's just submitted. So even within the self-service portal, present content that's relevant to who's logging in, make it easy to use, and use those drag and drop methods. The other nice feature of Cherwell self-service is the ability to extend beyond IT. We'll look at a facilities object or a purchase order object that we've created, but just keep in mind that you are welcome to publish any of that information out to self-service and have as many different sites as you wish to make it, again, relevant for the person logging in. I'm going to go ahead and close out our self-service portal and go back to my Cherwell client. I'm logged in as my technician, Henry Bryce, and Henry and Matt will be following us along as we continue on in our exploration of Cherwell today. What you're looking at in front of you is a dashboard in Cherwell, and we'll come back to this after we've had the opportunity to take a look at what Henry, our service desk technician, will see based on Matt's submissions through self-service. I'm going to jump down to my requests just to make this easy for me to find. I've gone ahead and filtered that dashboard, and we'll go ahead and open our new employee onboarding request. Now, first thing you'll see is look and feel is completely different from what we just saw in the self-service portal. So customer and technician have a very different view of Cherwell. It's a minor point, but truly the importance there is that it does not just have to be a different view for customer and a different view for technician. You have the ability to create as many different windows into your data as you wish. The nice thing is, behind the scenes, it's the same data pool. So if we want that overarching reporting or we want that overarching workflow, that's all very possible to do. So we've got our new employee onboarding. We've got Bill starting in our development department. But what I would draw your eye to is down here at the bottom, there's a tab called Tasks. Tasks truly are the work unit in Cherwell. Just as one-steps are our workhorse, tasks are our work units. Under an umbrella of one service request for onboarding a new employee, we know that we've got several things that we need to do. We need to create an AD account. We need to get office furniture, create a key card, all of those bits and pieces that go along with onboarding a new employee. So we use tasks to track those individual efforts. Within the tasks, you can work these in serial, work them in parallel. You can see right here we've got a dependency that has not been met to configure a computer because we can't configure it until we've actually procured it, right? So present not only information that's relevant, but why put out work that my technician can't do yet? This is owned by our first level support team. We don't even have to present this in their queue if we don't choose to until that dependency has been met. These tasks were created automatically as part of a one-step. Remember from the portal, we had our Affects Me Too one-step right out there to make things easier. Our technicians have access to those one-steps as well, whether invoking them manually, as we'll see in just a minute here, or automatically as part of this new employee onboarding. One-steps, if we go in and we just take a look at our one-steps and what you can do with them, you can do simple things like print or send an email. I'm a big fan of templating as much as I can, whether it's an email or it's an incident creation. I don't really, as you'll see as we go through, I'm a very, very bad typist. So I template as much as I can, and I use the one-steps to do that. When we talk integration points, two great ones right here within your one-step, the ability to run a program. So if there's third-party software that you are interacting with on a daily basis, go ahead and use your run a program option in Cherwell. Centralized work effort for your service desk analyst. They don't have to leave the Cherwell window. They can simply invoke a one-step with a run a program. You'll notice the wizard-driven interface here. That's all there for you. It'll step you through all of the bits and pieces that you would need to fill in to create that run a program action. Create and update business objects, very common use of a one-step in Cherwell, and that's what we did with our new employee onboarding. That's how those tasks were created down at the bottom. And then we have, as another integration point, the ability to call a web service. So again, if there's third-party software that you're using today that you like, that's meeting the needs, no need to put that up on the shelf. All of us are trying to avoid that shelfware incorporated into your ITSM solution. So if we were to take a look at our employee onboarding, just to kind of get an idea of what that all looks like when it's put together, it's a series of task creations. I'm a big fan of writing a process once and making it applicable in 100% of the time. Of course, I obviously don't live in the real world. That doesn't happen. So you have the ability to take any one of these one steps and add to it, modify it, change it on the fly. And then you also have the ability using Cherwell's Expression Builder. You'll see to the left-hand side, I've got a little question mark here next to my network setup. You can make each one of these steps conditional, and again, use that drop-down menu to choose the fields and the expression that you'd like to build. That square root of X will always signify an expression builder in Cherwell, so that's there for your reference. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll create just a brand new incident here together. And we'll stick with Matt Brown. He tends to be our trouble child. He likes to call into the service desk quite often. One of the great uses for one-steps is what are called quick templates. So think of those incidents that you're filling out day in, day out. Password resets tend to be a great example. Typically, it's anywhere from 10 to 40% of your overall ticket volume. So template that. If we were to go down, I've opened up my task pane here in Cherwell. This is a doc of my common one-steps and things that I like to do. But if I open up my quick templates, what you'll see is there's a password reset template. If I go ahead and run that, it's not just that traditional fill in the ticket and off we go to another system to do something. I'm taking advantage of that run a program option here. So I can see I've got Matt Brown. I'm going to reset his password to change me. If I close that out and let it go on about its business, at the end of the day, that service request has been filled in and it's in a resolved state. There's nothing left for my technician to do. So I've made it quicker and easier for them to go over and use that quick template, that one step, to go ahead and reset a password. And the benefit, of course, on the other end is that now every incident that comes in or every service request that comes in for a password reset, I'm not having to do that old style reporting of password or password reset or blank or, because somebody was just keying this in quickly. We've encouraged our service desk to use that one step because we've made it more efficient for them. Okay, let's just do just an incident submission here to take a look at a couple of other things that I think are important to know about the incident screen here in Cherwell. As a reminder, look and feel is completely up to you, and we'll go through and we'll actually change this form together so I can show you that, see that idea. We'll stick with Matt. One of the things I always like to point out is that Cherwell offers a 360-degree view of your system. What I mean by that is I think traditionally, even though we all try to avoid silos of data, we're all familiar with them, we know how they work, right? So maybe we had customer data to report on, maybe we had incident data to report on. Cherwell offers you the ability to see all of that information in whatever context makes the most sense for you. So right from that incident screen, I can actually go and see Matt. I can see everything about Matt, old incidents that he might have created, customer surveys that he has taken in the past. Maybe I want to go through and read those before I actually help Matt on to the next step. One steps are truly throughout the system, but they're here right on our main page. I've got the ability to just click and say, email Matt. It brings up a template for me that I can, of course, add free-form text to. So instead of having to go out and create a new email, send it to Matt, copy and paste, I can just go ahead and hit send, and that's actually going to create, down at the bottom here, a journal entry or work note with the email contents for me. No copying and pasting required. The other nice thing about doing this with a one-step right from within the incident screen, other than the efficiency part, which is great, is that any further communication from that between he and the service desk is automatically created as a journal within Cherwell. So not only do we get away from that copy and paste, of which I'm certainly not a fan, but beyond that, let's say that Henry's out tomorrow. Typically, that means this might have to sit because we didn't capture that entire communication string. Now we've made it very easy for somebody to step in here and take over and help Matt with whatever he's calling in about. You'll notice as part of my incident screen, down towards the bottom, there's a series of I want to's. Just one more great place to use those one steps or those micro workflows. Tailor that list to what makes sense for you. It might not be take ownership or submit to knowledge base. You might have your own set of ideas there. But I encourage you to think about those repetitive or mundane things that you're doing day in and day out. We'll go ahead and fill in our description. As we can see with the red surround, this is a required field. So Matt's called in and he's told us that email is slow. As I drop down my call source, just a reminder, as part of that platform, we don't just have to solicit information from a portal or from an analyst sitting down and filling this information in. Regardless of where that data lives today, bring it into Cherwell and unify that experience across the board. If you're using an event monitoring tool like SolarWinds or Nagios or WhatsUp Gold, have that information sent into Cherwell. Have it automatically create an incident. Action it automatically with a one-step on creation. I don't know about you, but if you are using those monitoring tools, my experience with them in the past has been that over-notification syndrome. Something misses a ping for about a second or two, and we get that alert. How nice would it be to have SolarWinds drive an incident creation that then invokes a one-step that runs out and pings that server that didn't respond, captures the ping results, and if we did get ping results, closes out that incident. I've just made it an automated process from start to finish. I have that history, so we can go back and report on it at any time, and that's all there for me, but I didn't have to consume my technician's time to go out and deal with that over-notification. You'll notice 3 levels of classification as part of your Cherwell incident screen. Common service portfolio up there at the top, and again, that consistency across the platform, whether you're here in incident or maybe later on in change or problem or something that you've gone ahead and created outside of our traditional IT service management view. That service portfolio can be used across the board to make reporting that much more robust. Options limit as you move down, so we'll only get those email and calendaring options. Then there's a nice feature as far as submission. You'll notice on the left-hand corner, right now this is an incident, but if I was to say request access or installation, that's now a service request. So that's been updated automatically based on classification. If I was to change my mind and say, oops, that's a submit incident, now we're back to incident. The key here is that the jumping off point for incident and service request for your service desk is going to be exactly the same. They don't have to know when they pick up the phone, should this be a break fix? Is this truly a request? What should this be logged as? That classification can manage that for you. If we find in the course of conversation that that does need to change, we haven't lost anything, but we can drive workflow, drive automation, and of course at the end of the day, reporting off of whether that is an incident or a service request. You'll have your priority matrix here down in the bottom, and we can use that if you prefer. Okay. As we went through and classified that, you'll notice towards the middle here we have a screen open. This is what's called a specific screen in Cherwell. There are several of them included out of the box, and those questions will change based on how we classify in the top here. If I was to change this to printing, you'll notice that those questions did change. They're now printer specific. So a great way to take advantage of that codeless administration to present questions and content, first call resolution, tips and tricks, information to your service desk so that when they were to come over and use those one steps to go ahead and assign that off to a different team or maybe escalate, you can make sure that they've gone ahead and filled in all of that required information. So we've got our incident screen here on our front as our technician logs this again for Matt Brown. But after we've gone ahead and put all of this information into Cherwell, then what do? If you'll remember from the self-service portal, I mentioned that you have the ability to take reports, take dashboards, and make them publicly available if you choose to. Again, be as transparent as you wish to be. So Henry spent all this time filling in this incident. We can actually go and get an idea of what our incident workload looks like. This is a dashboard in Cherwell. Dashboards represent your real-time view into the system. You can have any number of dashboards. You'll notice I've got an incident-specific dashboard here. I can see I've got 73 open incidents. The one we just logged with Henry brought us up by 1. But at a glance, I've got a clear view of what's going on within Cherwell. I can see my requests and their life cycle. I can see, just using some bullets here, how my respond and resolve SLAs are tracking. If SLAs are something that you're using today, great at-a-glance view. Obviously, with my demo data, I'm missing my SLAs pretty significantly. Use your dashboards, though, to present the content and information that makes sense for you. If I go back to my executive dashboard, I always like to present this sort of the at-a-glance, one-page, what's going on within Cherwell. You'll notice in the top I can see I've got my CSAT scores, my customer satisfaction. How are we doing? 3.6 out of 5. We've got some room for improvement. In the middle, I've got my customer awareness. Great way to use dashboards in Cherwell. I think a lot of times we, again, get into that silo of information. Traditionally, customer satisfaction, first call resolution, two numbers that we don't necessarily compare real time. If our CSAT is okay and our first call resolution rate is high, we're good. But how powerful to actually take those numbers real time here on a dashboard and see the impact of one on another. As our survey results go down, our first call resolution goes up. Maybe we've got a training opportunity right here, right in our little divide here in April, where we can go back to our service desk and see if there's a way to sort of even those numbers out. The dashboards themselves, you are welcome to create as many as you'd like. They're very easy to modify and change, and they truly do take advantage of that codeless platform. For example, if I wanted to change the dashboard that we're looking at here, all I need to do is say, edit. And you know what? Maybe we don't care so much about the change components of this. So I can go ahead and just lasso all of that, standard Windows controls, and hit delete. Dashboards are comprised of what are called widgets, and you've got several out of the box to get you started. But we can come in and maybe we'll use an existing widget. We'll pull in our first call resolution matrix, or maybe you want to create a brand new widget. Just to kind of give you an idea of what's out there and available to you, I'll drop that down. So maybe it's a search results list like we had with our open incidents, or maybe it's a bar chart to show you task workload, as an example. But I always encourage creativity when it comes to dashboards. You'll notice you've got a browser option. So if you're like me and you're using Google all day, every day, use that browser option. Put a little Google widget out onto your dashboard. Centralize your own work effort. Down towards the bottom, Twitter feeds, RSS feeds. If you're monitoring or if you have an internal RSS feed that you use for notification, or alternatively if you're doing that with Twitter, put that out onto your dashboard, but keep in mind that you also have the ability to create an incident or another object right from within that Twitter feed widget. So get creative with your dashboards. Not only are they very easy to edit, and I won't say that because not very aesthetically pleasing, but they are also very easy to create. If we were to come into our dashboard manager, I can simply click the green plus sign, and again, that'll be standard throughout Cherwell. Anytime you see that green plus sign, that's going to indicate add new. So we can just say I'm going to create my new dashboard. Over on the left-hand side, you'll notice the organization, and again, this will be common, user, role, team, and global. So who gets access to this dashboard? And just that easily, we can come in, and I'll just use my existing widgets as an example. We can come in and actually just drag and drop and create a brand new dashboard. It's really that simple. You'll spend a little more time on yours, I'm sure, so they'll have a much nicer look and feel. So we've got dashboards which present that real-time look into what's happening in Cherwell right now. But of course, you also have available to you historical reports. I'll open up one here just as an example. Customer survey trends. Again, if we're measuring customer satisfaction, great report to have there for you. You have 150 out-of-the-box reports available to you. But again, if those reports don't meet your needs, you're more than welcome to change them. Standard Windows controls to do that. Or you can always come in and create new. Green plus sign, again, will step you through report creation. Cherwell includes a report writer, and you simply start by choosing what you'd like to report on. Maybe it's an incident. Apply a search group or use all records. And then just double-click and add the fields that you'd like to see. The power here to me, though, is not just those incident fields. It's everything beneath incident. That is everything that incident shares a relationship to in Cherwell. Change requests, configuration items, customers. We don't have to write any SQL to come in here. We can just say we want to see our customer's department and maybe their address as part of this report. Behind the scenes, Cherwell will manage that SQL to present that information, but for you, all you need to do is select the fields that make sense for display on your report. As you come through, calculated fields, and again, that's all going to be wizard-driven. There's that square root of x again, indicating that we've got expressions available to us. Sorting and grouping. And then, of course, report prompts. And if I drop that down, that list will look familiar by this point. We have incident and everything that incident shares a relationship to. So I can come through and maybe prompt off of my customer fields, or maybe prompt off of a specific change field if I want to look at incidents that were created as a result of change, just as an example. So the codeless platform helps even, and we'll get rid of my silly dashboard and give you something a little nicer to look at, helps you to present the content and use it so that you can use that to drive process improvement, measure those KPIs, or maybe discover new KPIs within your organization. So we've got our Cherwell self-service portal. We have our Cherwell client. This is the rich client that I've been using so far today. But just to kind of reinforce that concept of codeless business application technology, I did want to take you in and show you a business process in Cherwell. This is the Cherwell administrator. So we've looked a lot today at different ways that you might choose to take advantage of those one steps or those micro workflows within the tool. Business processes take that to the next level. They're running in the background, they're watching for key trigger conditions, and they're actioning them. Oftentimes they will be actioned with a one step, but that's a one step that you've already created. You're not going to recreate that for use here within your Cherwell administrator. I go ahead and open this up for you. You've got several out of the box to get you started, but again, green plus sign, we can always add new. You have 3 different types of business processes to choose from. Simple action and event, and that's pretty much what it says. An incident was created, do something. Threshold-based business processes, one of my favorite, it's watching for thresholds that are crossed within your environment. So if you've got a customer survey score that comes back extremely low, have the business process reach out with that initial touch point. Make sure that your customer feels engaged. They're not simply filling in that customer survey and off it goes into a black hole, never to be heard from again. So that threshold-based business process is there for you. And then, of course, you've got your visual workflow. And this, to me, is one of the better examples of this codeless approach. Everything that we do here as part of this process will be a drag and drop onto our visualization here. So let's say, for example, one of the more common problems I think that most desks face is, how do I make sure that my incidents aren't aging? Traditionally, that's been someone's task, is to watch the queue. If this is now more than 4 hours old, let's start assigning it out manually. Don't do that. That's not efficient. There's much better uses of your time. Use your visual workflow to help you manage that. So we'll start, in this case, I've picked to do this when an incident is created. So we'll start when an incident is created. I can apply this based on working hours. It might be SLA or working hours. So the nice thing about SLA, if you are using those within your environment, write this process once, but make it applicable across all of those different SLAs that you may have picked to employ. Okay, so we'll say once an incident is created, we'll wait for something to happen. Well, typically, how do we know that somebody has actually done something? Well, we'll say we'll wait for that incident to change. And in my environment, I might say, you know what, if status changes to in progress, I feel like somebody's done something. So I can go ahead and end the process. We'll put a time limit on here, and we'll say 4 hours. And again, you can see just from those drop downs how easy that is to change if you need to. So if that status changes to in progress after 4 hours, we'll end it. If that doesn't change and it's still sitting out there, maybe we're kind of nice and we'll send off an email as our first step. And we can come in and we can drop this list down. And again, that'll look familiar at this point. Incident and everything that incident shares a relationship to. So we might send that off to the team that owns it, might give them a little nudge and say, hurry up. Right. Down at the bottom, just as a reminder, even though this business process is going to operate automatically, you will still have the audit trail. We're not only going to have this email attached to current incident history, so it'll be that journal note that we saw from our technician view, but it's also going to be attached to recipients. So if Matt or whomever has logged a ticket and it's been sitting out there, this email can become part of their customer record. So truly eliminate that silo of information. Make it available regardless of what my perspective is currently in the system. So we'll go ahead and send off an email, and we might say, you know what, we'll give everybody 1 more hour. So we'll just make that 1 hour. And again, if they've done what they need to do, we're done. If not, we might decide, you know what, let's go ahead and run a 1-step. I can choose my 1-step, and you'll notice it's the same list that we saw earlier. Again, we're not going to recreate those for use here in the tool. So I might decide, you know what, I'm going to bump that up to a priority 1 because that's going to kick off a whole different workflow. It's going to start showing up on dashboards across the organization. We're going to have bells and whistles going off, so we'll go ahead and up that priority. We might choose to wait again. And again, maybe this time we'll say we'll wait, 1 hour. So I can come through and say 1 more hour. And if that still doesn't work, maybe I want to reassign this at this point. And I can send this off to my second level team because they tend to be a little more responsive. So just that quickly and easily, we can build a business process to handle, any process within your organization. I picked just what I think is a common thing that we all face, but if you can draw it on the back of a piece of paper, you can create your visual workflow here in Cherwell. One of the other nice features you'll notice is towards the center, I've got a red box and an exclamation point around my wait for timer event. And this is what I call spell check for business processes. So even though I went through and I filled in some of that information, I actually didn't fill that out completely. So it's going to warn me and not allow me to publish that until I've gone back and actually filled in the information that I need to have this process move forward. So there's a little safety net right in the tool to make sure that you don't inadvertently leave out that important information. So we've got our business processes, which I think, again, is a great example of that concept of that codeless business application technology. But just to kind of end on a configuration point, I did want to take you in and just show you how you would change this and make it your own. That's all done from what's called a blueprint in Cherwell. So just as you'd have a blueprint for your house, you have a blueprint for your Cherwell system. So I can come in and I can find the object that I wish to modify. We'll use incident here as our example, but I can come in and just say, you know what, I want to edit this form. I want to change the color. I want to add a field. And again, we're just going to come in and say, we want that background color. Maybe we want to have that green. That looks great, so that's all there is to it. If you want to add a field, just right-click, green plus sign again. So we can add a brand new field very quickly and easily. Drag and drop that wherever it makes sense on the form. There's some nice alignment tools and visibility controls at the top here. And if we come in just to the visibility controls, an example, what you'll see is that familiar list. It's incident and everything that incident shares a relationship to. So that will all be consistent. Once you're done, all you need to do is go ahead and publish out that blueprint, and those changes become active. The next time either your end user customers or your techs log out and log in, they'll see whatever you've done to change the system. There's a nice edit undo feature as well included on a blueprint. That's called the rollback blueprint. So as we went through and we changed that form, I made it green. I thought that looked fantastic. But once I've made these changes live, my phone starts ringing off the hook, and I'm hearing just how awful that green looks. That rollback blueprint, open it up, publish it, you're right back to where you started. So it's a nice edit undo or a safety net for the new admins in the group. What this also lets you do is create and extend beyond that traditional IT service management focus. If you wanted to include facilities as an example, or a purchasing module, very easy to do. You'll notice at the top there's a green plus sign. We can create a brand new business object, and we might say we're going to call that facility management. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. Come in and add the fields that make sense. Okay, and I won't take your time to do this today. And then create a brand new form. Present a look and feel that makes sense, or use a form wizard if you're like me and you don't have that aesthetic quality. Create a brand new form and publish those changes out. What that lets you do, if we were to go back to our Cherwell client, I've actually, in my system, I've gone ahead and created, I've got a new facilities work order. I've got a simple purchase order module that ties into the other pieces of my Cherwell system. So I can present a view. Maybe I've got a service request that drove a purchase order. Why not keep that all in one place? If you don't have a tool today to do that, build that here in Cherwell just through those drag and drop methods. Maybe your facilities team wants to have a self-service portal. Build them their own work orders. Let them use the tool as well. The nice thing about this is that whatever area you decide to extend it into, beyond ITSM, is the ability to segment data. Cherwell offers you a role-based security that, again, is all going to be drag and drop, wizard driven as far as setting up who gets rights to which parts of the system, so that you have the flexibility to come in and say, only my facilities team gets to see my facilities work orders, or only my purchasing team gets to edit or modify anything here on my purchase order screen. So we can keep all of that separate from those that don't wish to see it. But again, when we come back to reporting via our dashboards or via reports, all of that information is there, so you get sort of that overarching view of your entire organization. Okay. That's about it from my side, so I wanted to take some time and just thank all of you for joining us today. Hopefully you found this informative, and we look forward to speaking with you.
Kelly, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, another Flycast broadcast of our webinar series. Now, going into next month, we are going to be offering our full series webinars from change management, a fool with a tool is still a fool, and then, of course, problem management on May 16th. Our calendar is updated and located at flycastpartners.com right on the web. And, folks, our website is always manned by ITSM specialists to help you with any inquiry, research project, or if in fact you're looking for a new IT service management, IT asset management solution. Again, folks, thank you, and thank you, Kelly, for a wonderful overview of the Cherwell software. And this concludes our broadcast. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.